Hey guys, what is going on? So this is actually a requested video where I'm going to be going over what I wish I knew when I started with social media marketing agency. And for most of you, you know I started back in December 2018 with social media marketing. And the number one thing I really want to share is that, it's really, really important that you have an abundance mindset. Because this will literally not only help you with relieving a lot of stress and frustration from, oh, I want to close a client as soon as possible so I can quit my job or, stop with school. If you have an abundance mindset, just realizing the fact that there's so many businesses out there, I believe, there's an estimate of over 250 million local businesses worldwide and just like 30 million in the US alone, then that creates a whole lot of abundance, right? But also if you just realize that us social media marketers are just like this tiny niche, in this whole industry. So once you realize that and really internalize it, that will help you create more of an abundance mindset, regardless of your current situation. And also this will really reflect on your sales call, right? Because people can really tell when you're needy or actually really abundant. It's actually ironic because actually the person on the other side of the phone needs your services. You're always going to be there, to be able to do your outreach. But that person on the phone, he or she, the reason she's on the phone with you or he, they need the service of you. And if they walk away without getting help, they're fucked, right? And for your case, it's really different, guys. So there's many reasons to actually, be abundant in what you're doing. So those are just a couple of examples. And also, I wish I knew at the start of, how important sales actually is. I always used to kind of avoid meetings, whenever I set a meeting, I was like, shit, now I have to attend this meeting. And then I realized, outreach, client acquisition and sales is the only way, for me to actually make money with this business model. So I really just started to get into the trenches deeply and I started mastering sales. And maybe for some of you, you think oh, Bastian, I'm an introvert, I'm never gonna be good at sales. But guys, I'm an introvert and I became really, really good at sales over a small period of time. And anyone can really become better at sales, and not just with sales, with anything. If you just set your full focus on mastering a certain skill set, you can really become better at it. And decided that my biggest tip for to become better at sales is to follow this algorithm of getting ready for the sales call with your prospect, and then having the meeting script, the structure right there, and then then there's sales call, and then there's the outcome of the sales call, and then you want to take an objective view on the sales call and get feedback from someone who's pretty good at sales and iterate and improve pretty much on your whole skill set, and keep following that cycle, and you're just gonna get better and better at sales every single time. And that's something Sam Owens has taught me. It's really with anything in life, it's kind of the nature of law. There's input, there's output, and you get feedback, and then you just iterate and improve. It's really basic and simple, but it's also powerful at the same time. And yeah, it's just applicable to sales as well, so it's really, really cool. And then also client acquisition is really super crucial, and this one just simply goes hand in hand with sales. You need to get a meeting in order to close a meeting, right? And I guess the main thing I've learned from client acquisition is that you should never get content with the amount of meetings you book. For instance, I had 5 meetings booked for the first week of September, and I got content. And I was like, cool, gonna go ahead, make some course content for my students, start a group coaching platform, and do this and that. And then the next week, I was like, oh shit, I got no meetings, set up for next week because I got content, with that initial week where, I was really just thinking short term. So that's something I fixed as well. Just thinking long term, especially with these kind of things, because having your pipeline full, that's really where the money comes from, right? Because social media marketing really comes down to two things, at the end of the day. And that is just outreach, getting meetings and keeping your pipeline full, and then closing meetings, retaining clients, and then under promising and over delivering, right? And then also another thing, I struggled for so long at the beginning with picking my niche. If you just pick one niche, I guess at the start there's multiple ways to go about it, but picking one niche is probably the best recommendation if you want to set yourself up for the long term. But if you really have a hard time, I would say pick 3 niches you're really passionate about, you're already experienced in, you may already have an existing network in, all these kind of things. Then I would say go with 3 niches. And ultimately, after a month, after you've attained 1 or 2 clients, narrow down on one niche and set yourself up for the long-term game. Because if you pick one niche, this will separate your agency from 99% of other agency owners out there. Because these people also offer packages, and the reason I hate packages is because you in the sales call, you paint like a current situation of your prospect as well as like a desired situation, right? And you know, like, and they just need one service to like get that desired situation. But then there's like people with the platinum package saying like, cool, you know, like I think the platinum package is a great fit for you. And there's like 10 services in there, and the prospect only really needs one, which is so impersonal and a waste of money as well for them, right? So that's why I really just recommend picking one niche, picking one good service that you can offer, and really, you know, like that way you can set yourself up for the long-term game. You'll become a specialist, you'll be able to like streamline your operations, and you'll have like a plug and play system for whenever you onboard a new client, right? And then also, I guess one last thing, knowing the fact right now that there's like no such thing as the best outreach method. I remember really starting back in the day and, you know, YouTubing, Googling best outreach method in, you know, 2018, best outreach method in 2019, and there's a lot of different shit on YouTube, man, and like it's just information overload if you keep like doing that to yourself. So if you just realize that it comes down to just 3 things, it's pretty much like, you know, number one, the niche you're in. You know, so I could like give, for example, dentists or restaurants, because this also comes like based on where you're from. Because, you know, let's take, for example, the dentist or restaurant niche, you know, and then like based on outreach. So for example, cold calling in the Netherlands, if you're going to be cold calling in the Netherlands, it's first of all legal, and you know, it's just really shit. Whereas email works really well. And then cold calling in the UK may be really good, right? Whereas email may be really shit there. So it really comes down to like where you're from and like what works for you or not. So that's why you have to like kind of test what works for you or not. And then also the niche you're in, right? So let's say, for example, the dentists or restaurants, as I mentioned at the start. Let's say you cold call dentists in the UK, and you know, like the dentist always has a freaking gatekeeper, and you know, a lot of the times you're not gonna get past it, especially if you're not really a good communicator, right? Whereas if you were gonna be calling up a restaurant, they often of the times pick up the phone, and you'll be often like having the decision maker straight away on the phone. You know, like that's a massive difference to, you know, speak to the person of authority right from the get-go. That's gonna save you a lot of time and energy, right? And then also, as I said, whether you're a good communicator or not. So I actually had this with one of my students, Chess. His text game is, you know, not so good. So, and he's, you know, he's the complete opposite. He's a master at communicating with people. So I was like, okay, Chess, so this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna be doing. Like, we're gonna be having him talk as much as possible, you know, to acquire clients. So cold calling is a great way for him to, you know, like get his feet wet and booking meetings. So I've set him up, you know, gave him like pretty much the organization of like how I do my own cold calls, you know, with a spreadsheet, with an extension, you know, just really working efficiently. So he's gonna be pumping out numbers instead of, you know, doing it on social media, such as Facebook, LinkedIn, etc., etc. So yeah, it really comes down to, once again, whether you're a good communicator or not. However, if you are even not, cold calls is a great way to, like, you know, just become better at sales, because, you know, you're just communicating with people, and that's all sales really is at the end of the day. So yeah, guys, that's all I wanted to share today. Hope you got a lot of value out of this video, and I'll be seeing you in the next